What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my main event breakdown and prediction for UFC Vegas 89. We got Rose Namajunas going against Amanda Ribas. We have a flyweight fight here coming up on Saturday. And yeah, it should be an interesting matchup. Can't wait to break it down. Before we get into it, if you guys could please do me a favor, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, be on the lookout for the full card breakdown and prediction video. We have 13 fights here for UFC Vegas 89. I'll be getting that out Monday night. So yeah, Rose Namajunas, Amanda Ribas. I think it's an interesting fight in the sense that these are two, pretty much strawweights who have primarily fought at strawweight and have moved up weight classes, are fighting at flyweight. So, typically Rose would be undersized against a lot of fighters in the flyweight division. She's actually going to be bigger here. So I think that's kind of interesting to mention. But yeah, 5 rounds to work with here. It's going to be Amanda Ribas' first 5-round fight as far as I'm concerned. And then as far as Rose Namajunas, we know that she's been in a ton of 5-round fights. So we'll start with Rose, who is 31 years old, 5'5" with a 65-inch reach, 11-6 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. We have Amanda Ribas, who is 30 years old, 5'3" with a 66-inch reach, 12-4 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds. We have Amanda Ribas is the dog. She opened up plus 250. She's currently down to plus 180, and then Rose opened up minus 300. She is down to minus 210. So believe it or not, on this 13-fight card for UFC Vegas 89, Rose Namajunas at minus 210 is the biggest favorite on the entire card, which I thought was very interesting. But yeah, it's true. Currently, at time of recording, she is the biggest favorite on the entire card. And yeah, Rose Namajunas, it's kind of crazy that she's only 31 years old, because it just feels like she's been fighting forever, and she kind of has. I think she got into the UFC back in like 2014 at this point. Amanda Ribas got into the UFC, I want to say like 2018, 2019. So yeah, it just feels like Rose has been in the UFC for a long time, and she has, but she's not that much older than Amanda Ribas here. Amanda Ribas is 30 years old. Rose is 31, so I don't think that's going to be a major factor. I guess the big talking point here for Rose for me, and really it's in a lot of Rose fights, is just like the mentality, because there's some fights where she shows up and she looks just incredible. She can go out there and beat a Zhang Weili on her best night, and she has. She beat Zhang Weili twice. She can beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk. She's beat her a couple times. She can beat Jessica Andrade. On her best night, she can beat anybody in the world. But on her worst night, she can go out there against Carla Esparza and just do nothing. So, yeah, I guess the mentality is kind of interesting. This is going to be, I believe, her second fight at flyweight in Rose Namajunas. And she made her flyweight debut last September against Manon Fiorot, and that was a competitive fight. I believe she hurt her, I think it was her hand or her wrist or her arm, something along those lines in that fight, and that was a very competitive fight with Manon Fiorot, who I'm very high on. I think we're going to be watching Manon Fiorot next week against Erin Blanchfield, and I was very, pleasantly surprised to see how well Rose dealt with the striking of Manon Fiorot, because that was a very close fight. I think Rose Namajunas even outlanded Manon Fiorot in 2 out of the 3 rounds. But yeah, so I thought that was a great performance and a loss for Rose. I thought she looked good at the flyweight division, and that's Manon Fiorot, who Manon Fiorot is a pretty big flyweight, right? Manon Fiorot is 5'7", very thick 5'7" flyweight in the division where you got Amanda Ribas, a strawweight who is only 5'3", very, very undersized for the division. So yeah, just seeing how Rose was able to deal with the size, the striking of Manon Fiorot was very encouraging. And in this matchup, I get why Rose is a pretty significant favorite. And honestly, if there weren't like question marks in terms of like the mentality of Rose and all that, I think she'd probably be an even bigger favorite, because I just don't really like this matchup for Amanda Ribas. I think Rose is going to have her covered everywhere. Like, on the feet, I think Rose is just going to be the better striker. Amanda Ribas, I don't think her striking's terrible, nothing like that. I just think Rose is on a different level. You take a look at the level of competition between these two, and it's just night and day. Rose has went out there and, again, a lot of these are at strawweight, but same thing for Ribas. A lot of the opponents are at strawweight. Rose went out there and beat Zhang Weili a couple times. She's beaten Jessica Andrade. She's beaten Joanna. She's beaten very, very good fighters, whereas Amanda Ribas, she's got some okay wins, like Viviane Araújo. That's an okay win. That's about it. I mean, Mackenzie Dern, that was a good win, but that was when Mackenzie Dern was coming off of a pregnancy, a layoff as well. So I think those are probably Amanda Ribas' best wins, Araújo and Mackenzie Dern back in the day. But yeah, if she's able to beat Rose, that's her best win by a mile. So yeah, Rose has obviously fought the much better competition. Rose has been in just a ton of 5-round fights, ton of 5-round experience. This is going to be Ribas' first 5-round fight here. And I'm just struggling to find a path to victory for Ribas. Like, I guess her path to victory would be potentially getting the fight down to the mat, maybe winning some minutes on top, but I think that's going to be much easier said than done. But I think that would have to be the path, because I don't really see her striking Rose Namajunas across 25 minutes. I just don't see it happening. And Rose is a pretty good grappler in her own right, so even if she does get taken down by Ribas, she's not going to be too out of depth on the mat there. So I think it's a pretty good spot for Rose as long as she shows up. I don't want to see another situation like the Carla Esparza fight where she went out there and just literally did nothing for 25 minutes, ultimately losing the fight. If that Rose shows up, I mean, anybody can beat her. If that Rose shows up, Amanda Ribas will probably beat her just by being more active. I mean, I cannot believe that performance. But if we get a highly motivated Rose, I think she makes this look quite easy and potentially even get to finish. Like, that's one thing about Amanda Ribas. Her chin and durability is very, very concerning. Amanda Ribas has 4 losses, 3 of which come by knockout. She got knocked out outside the UFC. I think it was against like Poliana Viana. She got knocked out by Macy Barber. She got knocked out by Marina Rodriguez. So yeah, she's been knocked out a couple times, and I don't know if Rose is going to knock her out, but it wouldn't completely shock me, right? Like, we've seen the chin of Amanda Ribas be just a major concern in her career. So in terms of a pick, I got to go Rose here. I think she's going to be the better fighter across 25 minutes. I think she gets the better of the striking across 25 minutes. And yeah, I got to go Rose here. In terms of a betting perspective, I was actually taking somewhat of a look at Rose at... she was like minus 170, minus 180. I was taking a hard look at it, sat on it, thought about it, and then the line just got completely smashed. And now Rose, I just actually refreshed the odds here, because I put these odds in literally probably like 15 minutes ago, and she was minus 210. I just refreshed the odds, and she's minus 255. I can tell you right now, I'm not laying anywhere near minus 255 on Rose Namajunas, but yeah, she should go out there and get the win. And in terms of like these props, like they have the fight goes at plus 150, the fight doesn't go at minus 180. Minus 180, just it seems like a bit much. At that point, I would probably bet the fight goes the distance, but then you got to worry about the durability of Amanda Ribas. Believe it or not, Rose Namajunas inside the distance is only plus 100. I think that's terrible. Yeah, so nothing really sticking out from a betting perspective whatsoever. I would not lay minus 255 on Rose. There's just so many question marks with her every single time she steps into the cage. It's like, that's not something you want to lay minus 255 on. But yeah, the prediction is going to be Rose Namajunas and by decision. Could potentially find the chin, but I'll say it's decision, and I'll say she outclasses her across 25 minutes there. But yeah, it should be an interesting main event. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to next week's main event as well, which I believe is another flyweight fight with, I think that's Aaron Blanchfield and Manon Fiorot, and I think it's in Atlantic City as well, which, yeah, next week's card's very good. So looking forward to that fight. Looking forward to this fight. Let me know down in the comments who you guys have. Yeah, seriously, let me know if you guys like anything from a betting perspective on this fight. I'm looking at the props and nothing's sticking out. I'd be quite shocked if I got to a bet on this fight. But maybe you guys like something. Maybe you guys are on the dog and Ribas. I'm not sure. Let me know down in the comments. And yeah, be on the lookout for the full card breakdown and prediction video for UFC Vegas 89. I've researched every single fight on the card, and all I have to do is record, edit, and then I'll get that out there, aiming for Monday night. I want to stay consistent with the Monday uploads for the full card breakdown, no matter how brutal this card was to kind of research some of these prelims, man. But yeah, be on the lookout for that. Leave a like on your way out, subscribe to the channel, and best of luck for UFC Vegas 89, Rose Namajunas, Amanda Ribas. Just a side note, I mean, my main event is Cameron Simon, Peyton Talbot. So, but the actual main event is Rose Namajunas, Amanda Ribas. So yeah, guys, best of luck. Enjoy the card, and we'll talk to you soon. See you.